Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. We're going to do things a little differently today, and as you'll notice when you look at my video here, apparently I've been doing it wrong. It was brought to my attention, and I've been putting the title in as just G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And apparently people want me to put in the title what the video is about, not who the video is about. So I'm going to try that out and see how that works, and we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, so here we're looking at you know how my seed starters go here, and I've shown you that before in prior videos. Well, I got some early pumpkins growing up here, and the I don't know if you can see it through there, but the roots on this one go all the way down, and they run all through this package here. This one's just got a little sprout coming out of it, and this one has already broken the hull, so it's coming out, and it's got some good sized little feelers coming out of it. So I'm going to get these into the ground out in the garden here in a little bit. We'll head out there and I'll show you. Okay, here's another thing I like doing is garlic. I take garlic cloves from the bulb of garlic, and I break them apart, and I like to peel them before setting them to grow like this. Now that you see these have got roots already. This is 3 days ago I put these in here. They got roots and they got sprouts in them already. They're ready to go in the ground. This set I just did today. And some people will plant them without peeling them, and they'll put them in water and get them to sprout with the peels on and go from there. I always liked peeling mine, and this one looks like it's got a little sprout coming out of it already, and I just put these in earlier today. What I did find out is to peel them, to make them easy to peel, because a lot of people don't want to go through the hassle of trying to peel a garlic clove, and you don't want to damage it before you're going to plant it. So what I do is I put them in water like this, and I'll let them soak for about 2 to 3 hours. Then pull them out, and you can grab them from the bottom side there. You can just peel, the peels just come right off really easily. And then I throw them into the chicken treats and let the chickens eat those up. I'm also sprouting some celery here from the leftover stalk, and it's got some growth going on the inside, but I haven't seen any roots yet, so we're gonna have to wait for the roots to come out before I can take those outside. All right, so with all of that, the reason I'm doing this video early today is because the wind has calmed down right now. And let me get a little closer here and show you. It's 9 to 16 now, and Andy is gone. He's left, and he left a few days ago, and ever since he left, the wind has been blowing every single day. I mean, every day. Oops, excuse me. I get a little cramp in my hand because I'm holding my list here up against my phone, and it's a little hard to do. Yeah, that was a butterfly. The butterflies are still coming by here. They've been migrating for months now. Normally by this time they're already gone and out of here, but they're still here. All right, so let's head on down to the garden house, and I want to catch up to date on what's going on in there, because like I said, the wind is going to come up again this afternoon. They said around 4 o'clock it's going to be up by 24 miles per hour. So I'll be making electricity, but I won't be able to do anything else at that time because it's just too windy. And here we are in the garden house, and you see I got a hose connected to my sprinkler system going up here, and see all my plants are looking really nice and healthy here. I did stake and tie some of these off, and look at the pears. And right here you see a little pear on there. You got a couple of pears there. I got pears there. I got more blossoms up there. I got a pear here. Loads of pears. I'm gonna be happy eating pears this year. But yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to point out. And we're going to turn on my sprinkler system here. Now, the way I rigged up my sprinkler system was I actually put a solar panel up on top, and And then I got my control box here, and I got my battery cables coming out here where I can clip on without having to open the box. And I keep all my garden tools and that stuff in there with along with the battery pack and controller for the solar. And then coming off my barrel, this barrel out here, which is full, I have my garden hose coming down here. Right now I'm using a hose from an old washing machine, clothes washer, and that's because I needed 2 female ends on it. And I will be changing that out and going to a small female adapter I could put on the barrel, and then I could just hook my green hose directly up to it. All right, then the other hose comes out, and of course it goes up to the sprinkler system, and I've got my valve open. Now, one of the things I will be doing here is I'm going to be modifying this, and this is kind of flimsy right now, overhanging too far. So I will be putting a 2x4 from that one over to this one, and then I'll be able to strap that up there and give it some strength. Because this is my self-watering garden, so I don't have to worry too much about that one, although I'd like to bring the humidity up. So what I might do is put a single pipe coming over right above dead center of that, and I'm going to put what they call a strip sprinkler head on there, which sprays in a rectangle. And then I'll turn it down real fine just so that it drops some moisture in the air above these plants and also waters them as they go. My tomatoes are really coming up there. I got to wait till they get the 3rd leaf off there, and then I'll thin those out. And I did prune all my tomato plants today, so I've got some down there in the cans soaking in water. I'm going to sprout those because these are all indeterminates. And you can see I've got them tied up here with wires going up, and I just loop them through the overhead wire there, and then I can let the plant climb on there, and then I'll use some of my green plastic tie as I need it to hold them up as they get taller. So the thing about pruning on tomato plants is, I'm sure everybody already knows, but I'm going to cover that real quick. One thing about pruning tomato plants is you want to get everything off the ground so it's not touching the ground. And then you want to also trim suckers as it grows. Suckers are, let's see if I can find one here. It's actually a little branch that grows right out of the joint of one of these leaves right here. And these leaves are for the photosynthesis. So down at the base of that, you'll get a little growth coming out on a 45-degree angle, which is a sucker. And that will turn into another branch like this with more tomatoes on it. But that takes away from the tomato plant, and you're going to end up with smaller tomatoes because the plant isn't strong enough to hold all of that. You can just let them lay down. So on indeterminates, you want to, like this one here, this is an indeterminate. You can prune those, and you can put the pieces, the suckers that you cut off, into some water, root them, and then you get another tomato plant. All right, so before I go down the line here, let's turn this thing on, and I'll show you how this works. So we're getting a little bit of a wind right now, so give me just a second while and see if this one dies down, because when the wind blows, it just blows water everywhere. And the reason I did this way with the overhead here is because I want to be able to not only water the garden very quickly, but I want to also bring the humidity up inside of this grow house so that the plants are more happy. And yep, the winds are starting to pick up, and they're not supposed to come up till 4 o'clock, but weatherman lies all the time. All right, so we got a little break here. Here we go. I'm going to reach down here. I get a little switch here. Click it on. You hear that come on, and we got water coming out. Now you see this one I've got on a swivel there, so I can adjust it to where I want it. And that covers just this end right here. Now you see down the line, those are all full circle units, and they're wetting everything down very quickly I'm getting a really good soaking on my garden this way. And the plants just love it. I mean, my corn is growing really happily because of what's going on here with the new sprinklers. And I did test them out yesterday. But with the wind blowing, you see my new peach tree there is not getting as much water as it should. Although I did soak it down really well this morning. And then another thing is I got mushrooms growing. Look at this. Yeah, mushrooms growing all through here. And I got one growing over there by my cucumber plant. That being said, we will cut this off because the wind is blowing the water, and I'm watering the desert walkway there, which I don't really need to do. All right, this peach tree, unfortunately, is a spring producer, so we'll see what I get out of it for this year. Also, I on the plum tree, because everything was dying on it, I pruned it off down to where I saw life inside of the trunk of it, and I put some pruning juice on there to seal it so that it won't get diseased, and we'll see if I get any sprouts to come out of it. All right, then we'll move down. I did the same thing to the little peach tree, the freestone peach, because I went like this and I said, well, that's got a good grip in the ground there, so maybe the roots are growing and maybe it'll come too. This one I pruned it down and I sealed the end here with pruning sealer, and I also noticed that there was some live green stalk on here, so we'll see what happens there. Again, here we go, the tomatoes. You notice the bottom stalks are clean, and I've got them tied up on the wires to hold them up. And I did the same thing with the wires on my grapevine to guide them up to the trellis as they grow. But this is an early girl, and this one had a lot of growth on it. This plant branch right here was a sucker, and it's grown up to become a new branch. So it's going to give me 2 branches coming off this. Normally you want one just climbing up, and then that's going to give you the best production. You'll get a very tall plant with lots of tomatoes on it. But I let these go a little bit too long, so that's what I ended up with. This here is a sucker off the end of the branch, but again, I let them go too long before I started pruning and tying them up. I have to live with it. All right, everything's looking good down here. I got a broccoli flower there. I got a broccoli flower there. So I'll be eating some broccoli pretty soon. And I've got peppers set on the pepper plants over here. The grapevine, I cut it off really short and put some of the prune sealer on the edge of it. Then I took the 2 sticks that I cut off of it, and I sunk those in the ground just in case there's any life on them, to see if they're going to sprout for me. I don't think they will, but we'll see. All right, over here, these trees, they were looking a little dried out and beaten, but I got fresh growth on the ends of all of the branches, as you can see. So that one's taken, and this box is not doing well. I'm going to have to mix some of my Kellogg's garden soil in with that soil and bring the nutrients up on it. It was showing that it was pretty much depleted of nutrients. My little hollyhock is really bushing out. It's having a lot of good time in there, and that one's plenty wet, so it doesn't need any water. I'm going to be putting my garlic in right here on this edge, and let's see what I can do with that. And the pumpkins, I think I'm going to build one more box, and I'm going to put it right here, because as you notice, I moved my table down over to there. So now I got this area to do some more planting. So I'm going to build one more small box here, and I'm going to put my pumpkins in that, and then I'll let the vines run down the walkway here, and I'll try to adjust them over and keep them up tight against the side here. They'll be wind protected with all the other boxes and trees planted there. And we'll see if I get any pumpkins out of it. Those are early sweet pumpkins for making pumpkin pie. So we'll see what I get out of that also. All right. Oh yeah, I was going to show you this tree. Look at all the fresh growth at the top of this one. Just really, really happy. So that one's going to really make a nice shade tree right here. And once it gets up as high as this unit, I'll clip a hole in the wiring and I'll let it push its way through and let it get up bigger, so it'll actually be a canopy above here, and I'll make sure the holes are too small for critters to come back down inside. All right, around this side, apple trees, not showing any blossoms yet, but a lot of brand new branches growing out of it, and we'll see what comes out of that. And this pepper plant, this is a shishito sweet pepper, and it's got buds all over it. My tangerine is showing buds everywhere. I haven't looked as closely as I should have to see if there's any fruit set yet, but I don't think so. And these tangerines are mandarins. They usually ripen ready to eat around Christmas time. We'll see what happens here, because I don't know if the weather's going to hold long enough for that, so they might have to be plucked off of there a little early. And then my solar fire tomato plant here, and my health kick tomato plant. I've got some sprouts off of those over there in the pots growing up. My chard was already going to seed because it's a little starting to get a little too hot for it, but I'll get some chard off of there, and I can use in a salad or whatever, or even a soup. And everything else down here is doing its thing. Now, one thing that I had to do is, I've got this last sprinkler head up there is actually past the outside of the unit, because it's a half round, and from where it's at, it sprays this bottom part right here. But then when I shut it off, that's on the low end of the run up here, so water drips out of it. So I put my aloe vera underneath it and let the water drip into the aloe vera and water that. No wasted water, right? Okay, that's about all for today, everybody. I'm gonna close things down here, lock things up, and head inside and take a little bit of break here before prepping my dinner. So, G-Bear reminding you, give me a thumbs up down there if you like my videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe. It's free. Yes, you do not have to pay to subscribe. You just click the subscribe button and you're automatically subscribed. And then when you click that, you'll get a little bell notification, a little icon will pop up. If you click the bell, you'll get notified by email. That's the email you used when you logged into YouTube. And you'll get a notification every time I post a new video, so you won't miss anything. G-Bear signing off.